In this video, I'm going to show you how to use programmed content. Now, what is programmed content? In the case of what we're looking at today, it's content that when you upload it, it's not just a document, it's not just a PowerPoint, it actually has programming included in it. One of the examples that I want to show you is using timers. So when we used to use Illuminate had a timer built in. Adobe Connect doesn't have that, so the way to get around it and to have that functionality is to upload a pod and create a share pod and upload a SWF or an SWF, which is made in Flash typically, that has the programming in it. So I'm going to show you that as an example. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I've already downloaded them, so we're going to come back to how to find them. But first I'm going to download one and upload it into my session here. So I'm going to click on Pods. Then I'm going to go to a share pod. I'm going to add a new share. Then I'm going to do the drop-down menu and share document. This is the same thing I would do normally if I were uploading anything else. So first I'm going to do is do a countdown. So I have this countdown SWF here. So I'm going to click on it, and you see that's an SWF or a SWF, which is a Flash object, and then click Open. Once it's done loading, it gives me this view here. So what you're seeing is what looks a lot like any other kind of content, but the big difference is I can interact with it and change some settings. So right now it says Adobe Connect, and it says the meeting will begin in. That may not be what you need, but you might want to change that. I can also set the time, and I can start it. Now, because it's a share pod, everybody can see it. So this is something you'll have to figure out how you want to have it displayed and when you want it to pop up and to be available. But it's not hard to do that. So let's actually make some modifications. So let's say instead of the meeting will begin in, which I said is perfectly relevant, but let's say you have a team presentation and the presentation can be only 10 minutes long. So I'm going to change this to say team presentation. And then I'm going to, now I can't click here, so I'm going to go to set time, and I'm going to set the time to, sorry, I went wrong direction there, 10 minutes. So 10 minutes on the slider, or I can do it. I can also say show timer to all participants, or I can just show it to myself. So same as it was in Illuminate where you can make a choice. I'm at this point going to leave it for showing it just for me. And then I'm going to click Start, or I could do back if I wanted to. So if I go back, now you'll see I show 10 minutes and I can start it, and it now is beginning the countdown. I can also resize this. So if I want to keep it really tiny. Looks like it wants to be a square or something very close to it, or small rectangle. I could put it there. I could also maybe change my layouts here. Maybe I want to put it up here for myself. Should be good. Let's see. Let's put it right there. So now my layout's pretty decent, and so that way I'd be able to do a timer. And I think that's a great option that again gives you that similar functionality to what you had in Illuminate. So to get rid of it or to stop it, it's not a problem. All I need to do is hide it, and I can always go back and get it again under Pods, Share, and then I can go find my timer and my countdown. So the next thing we'll do is a slightly different kind of timer. It's more of an elapsed timer. So I'm going to do the same thing again, Share, add new share, and because the last one I did was in that location, it's going to jump back to here. It doesn't need to. We'll just move it around. So I'll do the drop-down menu again, share document, and this time, instead of the countdown, I'm going to do, let me find it here, the timer. This one works a little bit differently. Click Open. It converts it, it brings it in, and I can move it back into this spot and do the same thing I did before, except this one, like I said, is just an elapsed timer. So if I hit the start, it just shows me the time. So again, it's pretty neat. So what if you wanted to do other things? If you know Flash programming, you can absolutely make your own. So you could make an SWF to do just about anything you wanted it to within reason. When I say within reason, as in there's certain things that will probably not, the system won't allow you to do, but if it's displays like this, certain types of interactions, you can really do a lot. In that case, let's actually take a look at some additional examples. I'm going to go out to my browser here, And there is an Adobe Connect app section. So you'll see it's adobe.com/products, Adobe Connect, and apps. If I scroll down, you'll see there's a number. There's an MP3 player. There's a closed captioning app. It actually works very nicely. I like that one a lot. There's a Connect. There's a YouTube viewer, which also works really nicely. Let me scroll down here. There's a word cloud, which is kind of interesting when you're visualizing discussions. So that might be a nice way to do something a little bit different. Let me see another one. Oh, there's a Connect Quiz Pod. Works a little differently than the quiz pod that's already built in, but might afford you some different things. Talking stick, which allows you to pass things around. There's some randomizers. Let's see what other is in here. There's social streaming. I haven't seen anyone use this, but I thought, you know, the implication to that would be if you were doing a large session and you wanted people to participate, but do it not quite in a formal discussion board, showing things kind of flowing through would be a really interesting way of using it. So there's all different kinds of things. Hands up, hands down, which actually would be really neat because I think the way that the hands up, hands down in Adobe Connect right now is not easy to find. So this would probably give you a much different look. So I decided to not download any others because I thought, hey, we could go walk through that together. So let's do that. Let's go to the hands up. That one's interesting to me. I'm going to click on the Learn More button. It's going to load this up. Now you'll notice that there are fees associated with these. Not all of them, of course, but there are fees. So this is not one that I can purchase myself. At this point, I'm not going to pay $500 for that, but that's something you'll have to look for. If you really want it, it may cost some money to do it. But it's a very interesting idea, right? So let's go back and look at another one. I don't initially see a lot of these and whether or not you have to pay for them, so we might run into some others that aren't. So let's go back to the top and see. Let's look at the YouTube one. I'm going to click on Learn More. Here we go. There's a free one. So let's use this one instead. So I'm going to click on Download. And I'm going to download it to my desktop, and it's called Connect Tube. Click Save. And now it's on my desktop. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to go back to our session. I'm actually going to turn this off. I'm going to hide it for right now. And again, do Pods, Share, Add New. Oh, I don't think I clicked on it. Add New. There we go. And then the down arrow, Share Document. And this time I'm going to browse for that one. There it is. Connect Tube. Click Open. It converts it and now brings it up. So from the perspective of being able to implement something, it's relatively straightforward. As you can see, it's totally something you can do. However, what you'll need to do is go through the process of kind of playing with them and seeing what they will allow you to do, and be able to do different things. So let's look up a bunch that I have already, which would be under Blue Quill. I should be able to find those. Click Go. There we go. So there's a Blue Quill Learning Management System. There's the releases. And what I'm noticing is it's probably listing these based on popularity. So let's look at this one. Taking attendance in Blue Quill. So I pull it up. Let's even make this a little bit bigger. I'm not sure how big it will get. And click play. You probably can't really hear it, but it's now actually playing through this. It's not a great player, but you get the idea. So if you wanted to show something and it were relevant to your class and it was a little easier than doing some other things, this would actually work really nicely. So play around with them, see what you can find, and try them. But you can see that the general workflow is you find those, or you develop it yourself, you upload them, and then they become part of the share pod. So really anything you choose to use can be a part of that share. So like with this one, it looks like the optimal size is right there. So some content like mine wouldn't really be appropriate. I'm using large screen shares, and it's wanting, a different experience. But I'm sure that there would be other content that would be perfect for this and would be certainly appropriate. So in any case, you've now seen how to utilize different types of pods. You've also seen that some of them are free and some are not, and some are actually very costly, but could really add a lot of value and interaction to that. So take a look at them, and let's go back to that URL so you'll know where to look. Sorry, wrong one. And you can go to the adobe.com products and the apps, and you can look through those apps and see if you can find any that might be useful to you, or even just be kind of an interesting way of changing up what you do today.